Hi, Hooray Harry from the hood here, hypnotized to the hilt. Hello and welcome to the channel. This is the second part of my duology on Prince Harry's medical issues. In part 1, I focused on Prince Harry's physical or organic problems. In this video, I go down the rabbit hole into the land of psychology. Not being a psychologist, I am, as might be expected, not in my natural habitat, so I would need a guiding hand from the psychologists amongst you, whether you class yourself as a professional or an amateur. As requested, this is simply my appraisal of Prince Harry's psychology, based on the information available out there in the ether, much of it provided by Prince Harry himself. Nothing I say here is designed to be unkind. It is more a call to action for understanding and compassion for Prince Harry, because I do think he deserves a bit of sympathy. For what it's worth, I do not believe that Prince Harry has any organic brain pathologies. You may be pleased to hear. Unlike what I think of his wife, Meghan Markle, I am, of course, of the opinion that all of Prince Harry's contemporary problems are circumstantial, life problems, situational issues. Basically, it goes like this. If X hadn't happened, Y wouldn't have happened. As I alluded to in part 1, right from childhood, Prince Harry was a walking target because of who he is and because of the family he was born into. I think it is hard being a royal child. To survive the perils of childhood and young adulthood, when you are at your most vulnerable, you first have to be smart and streetwise. Streetwise is difficult for royal children precisely because they are corseted, shielded from real life, the world in which you and I live. So already you are in a conundrum if you are Prince Harry. Sadly, smartness is an either-or, sum-zero quality. Prince William is smart. Prince Harry is not. Why the difference between two brothers who share the same parents and the same early life experiences? As with everything in life, many factors play a role, of course. Is it genetics? How does one brother get the intelligence gene down pat and the other doesn't quite get a bite at the cake? Well, genetics is a funny thing, as I learned in this video regarding ancestral heritage and skin color. Is it birth order? Well, I think we are getting warmer. Firstborns are said to be more intelligent than the subsequent kids in any family. I hope, of course, that this is not true. But that's just sour grapes from me. But in the case of the royal brothers, it looks that way. Is it educational opportunity? As far as I know, both brothers were given the same opportunities and even attended the same schools, so it can't be that. I make a huge assumption, which I need to correct before I go any further. I am assuming that we all have the same definition of intelligence. A random dictionary definition reads as follows: the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. I define intelligence even more simply as whatever you need to get on in life to your own satisfaction. I suppose I really mean whatever you need to live your life successfully. But then I risk having the smart Alex, no pun intended, coming after me demanding to know how I define success. By my definition, if Prince Harry is happy with his lot, then he is smart. And I end the video here. My instinct, however, and again, this is only an assumption, is that he is not very happy with his current life. That his life is a constant attempt to paddle upstream. It seems like hard work to me, being an observer from the outside. Why do I think that his life seems like hard work? Well, for a start, finances. For someone who was born into a life of privilege, having to sing for your supper, like us mere mortals, must seem like a real slap in the face. Albeit self-inflicted, of course. For second, there are many controversies surrounding this man, not least the latest one involving the Pat Tillman Award, the American visa debacle, having to look over your shoulder and worry that if the wrong man wins the presidential election, you are in trouble. The controversial tour of Nigeria, which could only have annoyed the real British royals, the controversial Oprah Winfrey interview, the book Spare, the secrecy and mystery surrounding the birth of his children, going back in history, the infamous fancy dress party and the peculiar choice of attire that was Prince Harry's choice, the run-ins with the paparazzi, the drug-fueled hazy days and nights as a teen, and in the years beyond the teen years. The controversy surrounding the military training that he underwent and the tours in Afghanistan. Need I go on? For third, the isolation from family and friends is in itself a very difficult position to be in. And if they are real children in his household, it is, shall we say, not optimal for them either, for obvious reasons. It is very traumatizing in the long run. So how did Prince Harry get here? A diminished intelligence quota is already a risk factor for unhelpful life choices. But this, with the right guidance and help, can always be circumvented. One can always make a good life for oneself. And then there is the other problem. An early start in life to drug taking and excessive alcohol consumption is another independent risk factor for trouble down the road in your life journey. When that drug taking escalates unchecked to hard drugs, the risk increases exponentially. What happens when a major trauma occurs in childhood? Could it lead to a form of arrested emotional development? I think it sadly can. When your emotional maturity is stunted at an early age, it is very difficult to catch up with your peers in this matter. It will require a lot of therapy and a willingness on your part to get better and to move on from the self-victimization stage. Moreover, you fall prey very easily to any force which is dominant to you. What do I mean? I mean, in the absence of corrective therapy, with festering inferiority complex, with thoughts like, my brother is more handsome, more popular, richer, more important, more intelligent, more valuable, better behaved, more muscular, taller, more like our mother than I. You only need someone who could take these thoughts of yours and run away with them, showing you that you have in fact been shortchanged all your life. And then, Bob's your uncle, you are hooked onto that person, sometimes for life. Because by hearing what they have to say, by aligning yourself to them, by spending all your time with them, it's the only way to boost your own missing self-confidence. It is the only way to feel good about yourself. It is the only way to feel alive again after the hell that was losing your mother in such tragic circumstances at such an early age. In effect, you dull your senses to the same level as the drugs did. When someone like this validates you in this way, in a way that no one else has in your entire life. Here you are, a so-called privileged chap with the world at your feet, but you don't see the privilege that you have because you have fixed your gaze on a guy called William, who is better at everything than you are, and whose life you desperately want, but you have no idea how to get where he is. You very much want William's life, his wife, or someone very much like her, his kids, his power, his future as a king, his influence, his charm, his popularity. You fail to see that your easygoing and cheeky chappy behavior is endearing and fun, and that with that alone, not only could you win even more hearts than William, but you could use your not so little influence to do a lot of good in the world. You want William's life so bad that you resent him for having his life. Once a loving older brother to you, the new whisperer in your ear is telling you that William is the enemy, your nemesis, no less. There was a time when William would have died for you. Now he can't stand to be in the same city as you. What happened to the cheeky chappie that Britain loved? The cheeky chappie got hypnotized. Some say he's under a spell of some sort. How could this have happened? Remember the arrested development at age 12? During the years that followed, there was a void in Prince Harry's life that he attempted to fill with drugs, alcohol, and members of the fairer gender. None of which worked, because he lurched from one catastrophe to another, all of which palace aides and officials managed and controlled like the professionals they are. Then he met the master hypnotist, who, due to her own psychological issues, had learned to use people to her own ends. Prince Harry simply had no chance. The beast was hungry and was poised to devour the tastiest prey to date. If you are looking for the answer to the question, what's eating Prince Harry? This is it. The once bonny Prince Harry was a sitting duck, a lame duck even. The studying of his mother's mannerisms, the research into her favorite perfume, the acquisition of similar dresses to hers, the channeling of her spirit, the humanitarian works all over the world. In effect, the complete how-to manual of the hypnotization of Prince Harry was written long before he cast eyes on Meghan Markle. In the boosting of Prince Harry's esteem, it was imperative to remove him from the shadow of the nemesis. It was important to convince him that he could establish his own kingdom elsewhere and be a rival king to William. It was important for him to believe that his mother spirit was on board with his new persona as a man in his own right, out of the shadow of William. It was important to be bolstered up to such proportions that he felt emboldened to emerge as a man equal to, if not superseding, William. Prince Harry is intrinsically not a narcissist, but his emotional trauma and arrested development makes for a mimic to whatever the personality of the being that entrances him, be it narcissism, histrionic personality, or borderline, whatever it is. He has been described, at least in his younger days, as having an empathic character, which makes him ideal for building rapport with children and babies, for example. A useful trait if you are a royal on a walkabout where you meet lots of children and babies. This empathy is a breeding ground for malignant narcissists who would hone in on this quality to sink their tentacles into a potential victim. It also makes Prince Harry receptive to anyone who would take advantage of his vulnerable position. Empathic people are usually good subjects for hypnosis in any form. The hypnosis of Prince Harry serves one useful purpose, if you could call it that. It serves to erase the painful memories of life without Mum, with a life with a Mum substitute. It is unlikely that Prince Harry will snap out of the hypnotic trance that he finds himself in. The only exit out of this hypnotic hell is exactly the same as the entrance into it, with a bang. In other words, sadly, a traumatic event once again, which will serve as a reset button. A combination of all the factors that got Prince Harry where he is today is truly a lethal combination. The saddest part is that he is where he is on his own because of the social isolation from his nearest and dearest, which he himself contributed to, let's face it, albeit under instruction from the mothership, so to speak. He is literally one hell of a cautionary tale, and as such only draws sympathy from me. What are your thoughts on the chain of events that led to Prince Harry's fall from grace? Could any of the steps along the way have been avoided? What do you think therapy is doing for Prince Harry? Do you think it has helped at all? Could the type of therapy he has undergone or is currently undergoing be wrong for him? Is there any way to steer things in the right direction without another traumatizing event for him? Does he have Stockholm syndrome, where a hostage develops a bond with their long-term captor, such that even when they are released, they choose to remain with said captor? There are only questions and no answers from me regarding Prince Harry. Perhaps you could help me organize my thoughts on him. Have you yourself undergone hopefully benign hypnotherapy? Did it help you lose weight, win a sporting event, overcome a health problem, cure a stutter? Have you had malignant hypnosis? Have you been the victim of a master hypnotist? How did that make you feel? What in your life did it lead to? Were you able to turn things around? Is it possible to come back from malignant hypnosis? Good or bad, I would love to hear your stories on this. In the meantime, stay healthy. And once again, any comments, thoughts, questions that you may have, feel free to address them to me. Feel free to Askadoc.